Okay, guys. So Tuesday morning. Now this is where you're a better planner than I am. I picked a bunch of restaurants. I think for the most part, pretty good.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think we only really only had one place we didn't like.
Yeah.
But I didn't map everything out.
But we're going to help you guys with it.
Yeah.
You're going to learn from our mistakes.
So for the most part, it actually worked out okay.
Yeah.
But we do want to point out, we went to Salty Dog.
For breakfast.
Yep. On Tuesday morning. But I do want to point out, Salty Dog, the Lighthouse, the scavenger hunt we did.
Yep.
The Crazy Crab we went to. A number of places are in a part of the island called Sea Pines. You have to pay. This is one of our passes. You have to pay to get into Sea Pines. It's $9 a day. We wound
Cash only,
yes.
y'all. Cash only.
We wound up going 2 different days. It's definitely worth it, but luckily we had cash.
Well, and think about it, because the Sea Pines is the neighborhood that it's in, but you guys, if you're looking towards going to Hilton Head, you're going to hear of a place called Harbor Town, which is at the end of this neighborhood. There's shopping. This is where the Hilton Head Lighthouse is that you've heard about so much. They've got a ton of restaurants.
Between Harbor Town and Salty Dog, which is basically its own shopping center.
Right.
That's two of the most popular, are known across all over the place.
Yeah.
Is Hilton Head.
It's well worth the money.
So, but just make sure you know about it. Try to plan the things to be in there together.
Try to plan the day around it so you can get your money's worth.
So to Salty Dog, we sat on the dock. Which
we did.
Gorgeous.
We got there about 10 a.m. for breakfast. There was no wait, and we did sit on their outside dock, which is a beautiful view. It was a little bit chilly.
If you go in the morning, bring a jacket, because I would assume when we were there in October, but I would assume just because of how much water is right there, it could
really
be chilly any time of the year.
Yeah.
So just bring a light jacket. You don't need anything crazy. You don't need to try to go snow skiing or anything, but a light jacket would help.
Yeah.
So I'll let you talk about your food first, because you weren't as crazy about it as I was.
Yeah. I just got the breakfast sandwich, and I got it on a bagel, and it came with breakfast potatoes. I'm one of those people that really likes my bagels toasted.
Who doesn't?
There may be some people out there who don't like toasted bagels. We can still be friends. It's okay. But the bagel came untoasted, and it was cold. Like, it was a really cold bagel. So I feel like the cold bagel with the hot food, it didn't go well. The flavors weren't working. The breakfast potatoes were really great, and I just got a Diet Coke. They do use paper straws at Salty Dog, which we really liked.
We like that better than plastic straws. Paper straws can be annoying. We know that. We actually have some metal straws that we carry. Normally, we didn't have them with us that morning, but yeah, I mean, that was neat. So after we ate, there's some stores shopping.
Yeah.
We got our shirt. We got a shirt for our grandniece.
And our pupper.
Yeah. He
We got
won't
him a
wear
little
it though.
Salty Dog shirt, because he's our little Salty Dog.
I bring that up because they also sold a dog bowl in the store. And the dog bowl is like $15 in the store or something.
$16, yeah.
What I had for lunch was a breakfast bowl.
Yeah.
It's the Salty Dog breakfast bowl, and it's actually served
In a dog bowl.
in the dog bowl. And you get to keep the dog bowl.
Yeah.
So the breakfast bowl is like $17. You get a souvenir. It's not a $17 breakfast.
No.
But with the dog bowl, with the cute, I mean, we've used it kind of as a coin bowl, or because the dog's already got his bowls and everything. But
it's cute though. We like it.
I mean, it definitely was worth it when you consider how much they charge for the dog bowl.
Right.
What I will say though is the breakfast was very good. Now I make a breakfast bowl pretty often here. It had sausage, it had eggs and cheese. The same potatoes. The potatoes were really good, really well cooked. What was unique about this one is it had a hollandaise sauce on it.
Hollandaise.
which was really good. This one, I think this is going to fall into a category of its own kind. Well, not of its own. There's one other restaurant probably I think we'll put in this category, but it's a recommend.
It's hard because Salty Dog is one of those restaurants that is another one of the tourists.
It's Hilton Head. It's part of Hilton Head. So it's a recommend, but because the food was good enough. If it wasn't Salty Dog, we'd still recommend it.
Right.
Bree would prefer to try a different
I would get
meal,
something different.
or get something different for breakfast. And they do all 3 meals of the day, so
I would definitely go back for lunch or dinner. We did say that.
What I would say though is it's still somewhere you should go.
Yeah.
Because I didn't until we started playing this. I didn't realize Salty Dog was in Hilton Head.
Right.
But I knew what the Salty Dog was.
Yeah,
because I've seen these shirts around all over the place.
Yeah.
Maybe that's a Southern thing. I don't know.
It probably is, y'all. Just
definitely, it was definitely. It's not like some tourist spots where you're going to go and you're not going to get a good meal. It was still a good meal. Everything you had was cooked well, except for the bagel wasn't toasted.
But y'all, I mean, honestly, if that's the only bad thing about it, then it's really not that bad. The service was really great. Everybody was super nice. We got right in. There was no wait. The area was really cute. We got to spend a lot of time.
Gorgeous view.
It really was. So. It was so pretty.
But definitely falls into the recommend category. Yeah. With a caveat of if it's your first time at Hilton Head or you've never been, you definitely should go check it out. So
you should. The shopping, the environment, it's all worth it. All right, so on to lunch for Tuesday. We went to the Crazy Crab, which was actually in the Harbor Town shopping center. So it was a really nice location for us to kind of spend our afternoon.
This was highly recommended on TripAdvisor.
Yeah,
that's one of the reasons
it was.
We picked it. And this is inside the Sea Pines area. So talking about that, we actually kind of lucked out because
we did.
Total
accident.
We had Salty Dog scheduled for breakfast, Crazy Crab scheduled for lunch. We went in there to eat, and then we walked around the shopping at Salty Dog, and I was like, okay, what are we gonna do next? And I looked up, and there was another shopping center pretty close. So I was like, well, let's go check that out. Turns out that's where we were looking for the lighthouse. We actually went looking for the lighthouse. Crazy Crab was right next to the lighthouse. Right next to it.
We had no idea, y'all. This is where my research was not all that great, clearly. But.
Well, but again, because I did most of the research this time. I kind of tried to give you a weekend off, or a week off, so.
But we arrived at 1 p.m. We had done a little bit of shopping beforehand. We got there at 1. There was absolutely no wait at all. This place was really, it was very centralized. It was smack in the middle of the shopping complex. They had fishing gear all up on the walls. Yeah, the service was really nice. It was a pretty cool area, but you didn't feel like on top of the next table. No. It was spaced out pretty well, which was nice.
Yeah. Didn't have an appetizer here.
Nope.
Well,
I sort of did.
Yeah.
But as my meal,
I had the fried seafood platter. And this probably was the best seafood platter I had the whole weekend, or whole week. Partially you'll hear in one of the last ones. I think I misordered one time, but everything was fried really well. Oysters, shrimp, fish. It was really good. I ate almost the whole plate this time,
and it was a huge portion of food, y'all. It was a really big plate, and it really wasn't that expensive. I thought it was pretty well priced.
And it had fried crab again, and like I said, I don't know that fried crab.
He's not salty about that crab at all, y'all.
But so what'd you have?
So I actually got an appetizer as my meal. So I got the side Caesar salad. And I got a bowl of she crab soup. Now, I don't know if you guys know, but she crab soup is very much a South Carolina coast thing.
It's in Charleston. It was invented in Charleston.
Yeah.
And the best she crab soup you'll get. I mean, people serve it all over the country now, but the best she crab soup you'll get is Charleston, Hilton Head,
South Carolina coast,
occasionally Myrtle Beach, but really Charleston, Hilton, the southern coast, the low country southern coast is the heartbeat of the.
And for those of you that don't know, she crab soup is like a creamy soup. It's very thick.
It's a lighter creamy soup. It's not like a mushroom cream of
right.
mushroom or something. So.
But it had a ton of crab in it.
Oh my god!
It was loaded.
I took a bite. It was almost like they put crab and then the soup was like a sauce they put on top of it.
Yeah. Like, do you want any soup with your crab? Because usually it's the opposite way around.
Normally you're struggling to find the pieces. Yeah. Of crab, so.
Which is super disappointing. But I love she crab soup because it is a little bit on the sweeter side, and it always has a drizzle of sherry in it, which adds a nice little pop to it. But it just comes with like crackers on the side. It was a really nice consistency. We'd been walking around shopping. We were hot, so I didn't want anything too crazy. And the Caesar salad was really cold, really good amount of dressing. It wasn't overdressed. It wasn't underdressed.
And if there's an expert on Caesar salads, it's my wife.
But yeah, overall.
You go to McDonald's and order a Caesar salad.
They don't even have a Caesar salad. That's not even a joke.
It was a joke. They do have a Caesar salad.
It's not a good joke because I don't have Caesar salad. But yes, I do eat a lot of Caesar salads. And this one was pretty good. Like I said, the service was really nice. The location was awesome. Yeah. I would absolutely go back again. Yeah.
And quick side note, while you're there, we actually wound up going back to the Harbor Town.
We did.
But while you're there's a really cool Christmas store with Christmas ornaments that we got a couple really cool ones that you probably saw in our Christmas video. But that Harbor Town's where we got those.
So if you see the jellyfish in our Christmas decoration video, that was from the Christmas store. In Harbor Town. It was just beautiful. It's a really, really long jellyfish. Look for it in that video.
But I think overall, Crazy Crab was good. I mean, it's definitely somewhere. It's a lunch or dinner place. I think for me, more of a lunch.
Just because the shopping and stuff around it just makes more sense for lunch.
And there is a second location
that
you could go to as well. But overall, I think I'd recommend. I think it's it borders near the Musco, but not quite.
Yeah.
So you probably agree, right? Now the she crab soup. If you like she crab soup, I'd put it on Musco.
Y'all, I would tell you to go back just for that.
Yeah. So definitely a recommend.
And be on the lookout for that she crab soup. We're probably going to be making it again in our Taste of America series. So be on the lookout for that.
And I'll make sure she doesn't skimp on the shrimp or on the crab.
Not. I would never.
Okay. Yeah. All right, guys. So Tuesday night, we went to TripAdvisor's #2 rated restaurant on Hilton Head Island.
We got dressed up with somewhere to go.
Yeah. And a funny story real quick. So it's Michael Anthony's Cucina Italiana. So I found it on TripAdvisor.
Yep.
Found Michael Anthony's and I was like, we got to go to this place. It's the #2 rated place. We haven't. The Italian we go to here most of the time is
not worth the money.
Olive Garden.
Yeah.
And there's a couple of Italian places in Greenville that are okay, but they're not.
But they're chain restaurants.
Well, I mean, there's a couple of non-chain ones downtown that we've gone to, but we just don't go enough because there's other places we'd rather go downtown. So I was like, let's go. At the same time, Bree found Cucina Italiana. It's like, we gotta go to this place. However we all said it. Went back and forth. So a recommendation real quick.
Yeah.
Through TripAdvisor, you can actually link to it through the comment here below, or below. I'll have it in the comments, not the comments, description. You can actually link to it, but through TripAdvisor, you can actually book your reservation.
Yep. Which is what we did.
And so that's kind of how I won the argument of which one we were going to go to, because I just booked a reservation. But come to find out, when we got there, we were talking about the same restaurant, so it didn't really matter.
And we do recommend making a reservation for this place.
We walked right in. They weren't too busy on Tuesday, but you could tell with the crowd level on Tuesday, if you went on a Monday or a Friday or maybe even a third, if you went on the wrong day, you could be waiting for a substantial amount of time.
And I will say, it did appear like they were socially distancing their tables, so it was every other table when we were there. Mm-hmm. I don't know if that's still the case with everything going on,
but yeah. for appetizer, we got the antipasti.
Yep.
It was pretty good. It was, nothing like I gotta have that again. But I think if we win again, we'd probably order it again because it was good. Like
It was.
I don't have to go back there because of it, but it was still good.
Yeah. And it was drizzled with a really nice olive oil, which you don't get a lot of times on an antipasti plate, but I think it really enhanced the cheeses that were on the plate. So if you don't like a lot of olive oil, you may want to ask them not to do that, but I thought it was really good.
Yeah. I got the pasta special. Taglioni was the pasta. It had shrimps and scallops with it. And then it was in a garlic white wine and butter and lemon sauce, and it was amazing. It was delicious. It was the perfect portion.
Yeah.
So often you go to eat Italian. Matter of fact, we went to a decent Italian place in Greenville when our parents first met.
Yeah.
And that night was no different than normal. But so often you eat Italian, and when you get done, you just feel like you're gonna explode.
So many carbs.
Well, because you get all that pasta and then you get the garlic and everything, and that wasn't the case here. It was a perfect portion. It was a special, but if they had that special, I would definitely order that again or something similar. So, what did you think about your food?
So the one thing I noticed on this menu is there were really only, I guess, 10 to 12 entrees to choose from. It was a pretty small menu in comparison to other Italian restaurants we've been to. But there wasn't like a fettuccine Alfredo option, which is usually what I get when I go to an Italian restaurant. I want something a little bit richer, a little bit fancier. What I got was probably the closest you'll get to a fettuccine Alfredo, and I don't remember what mine was called because everything on the menu was titled in Italian. The descriptions were in English, but it was very much like a fettuccine pasta with a Parmesan cream sauce. It came with marshmallows. It came with mushrooms,
Supposed to come
y'all.
with mushrooms.
Supposed to come with mushrooms. I don't like mushrooms though, so I literally just had the cream pasta. Like you said, the portion size was pretty good, but other than that, I mean, it wasn't anything to write home about, I don't think.
Now, that bloated feeling, we did get that later in the day.
Yeah.
And a little bit the next day. But, I mean, it's Italian. It's something that I think it kind of comes with the course.
When it's that rich and that heavy, I mean, it's bound to make you feel sluggish for a while.
Yeah, we didn't get it right away, but we did get it.
Yeah.
We had dessert here. That's a sign that it was good. I ordered a
sampler.
Dessert sampler. It's almost like a flan. It's not a flan, but it's something similar.
The Italian version of flan. I can't think of what it's called right now, but
what's the little puff pastry that
it was like a cream puff.
Yeah,
sort of.
And a tiramisu on it, and then you got a.
A chocolate souffle that came with just like vanilla ice cream, so it was just like a chocolate cake with
and the souffle was pretty good. It was okay.
You could tell it was made with dark chocolate and not like cheap milk chocolate. Like it was made with good quality chocolate, but I think mine was a smidge over.
Yeah. The flan, nothing to write home about.
I like it. He wasn't a huge fan of it.
I didn't have any problem with it. It wasn't bad. It just wasn't.
I think I ended up eating half of it.
Yeah, well, I mean, the idea was, so she doesn't drink coffee either, so she wasn't going to eat the tiramisu.
Right.
So you got the chocolate, you got the cake, and I knew I was going to try a bite of the cake, but you got the cake, and then I ordered the sampler because we could split the other two. The puff pastry, which it kills me, I can't think of the right name, I know it. It's not a cannoli, but it was a ball. But anyways, honestly, that was probably the worst of the four. Because that I've had better items like that I've bought out.
Did it just lack flavor? Like
no,
what made it?
I've had better items like that I've bought out of the freezer at Costco. Ooh. It just didn't. Everything else on the menu tasted really, really fresh. That didn't. The tiramisu was really good. It's kind of hard to mess up tiramisu. Overall, the dessert was okay. I probably wouldn't get the trio again. Although I might, because they don't do the tiramisu without the other two.
Right. That was the only bummer, I think. You can't get just a plain order of tiramisu in an Italian restaurant.
But it was pretty good. Overall, what I'd say about the restaurant, it's on a recommend list for me.
Yeah,
I think so for you
it was
too.
really romantic, great for date night if that's what you're shooting for sure.
What I would say about it is we've gone to a number of really fancy restaurants, you know, dress up, shirt. This wasn't quite shirt and tie, but you know, that type of place.
It was close.
And normally we leave disappointed.
Yeah.
That was not the case here. So it's definitely a recommend. It's not going to be on my list of must go in Hilton Head. I see why it's number 2 rated. It's not my second rated place, but it was good. And if you really like Italian food and you want to have some good Italian food while you're at the beach, it's definitely a good spot to stop by. So
yeah, I agree. And the only other thing we didn't mention is we both had a cocktail.
Yeah, the cocktails,
which you weren't a huge fan of.
I think I was thinking of an old fashioned. I ordered the wrong cocktail. Okay. That's all it was. But
that's fair.
The cocktail. I didn't talk about the cocktails because there's nothing to write home about. Like we talked about the cocktails at Boathouse.
Yeah.
Skull Creek Boathouse, because mine was extraordinary.
Yeah.
This was just a Manhattan. So, which is not bad, but
right.
It's not worth spending too much time on it, I guess.
And I had a strawberry basil lemon drop. To me, I couldn't taste strawberry basil or lemon. It just
Well, what I thought was weird is lemon drop's a shot, and they served it as a
martini style. So. Yeah. And I realized that probably wasn't my thing. I definitely want a fruitier taste. And realizing that it was a martini is probably why I didn't get that fruity flavor. So it really depends on your tastes.
Well, I mean, it wasn't a martini in the sense that it had gin in it. They served it like a mixed drink in like a martini glass, and really that's a lemon drop supposed to be a shot. So, but it's okay. But again, like I said, overall, really good restaurant, good food, really good atmosphere, especially for more of a romantic or a quiet conversation.
Yeah.
Definitely recommend, just not the you have to go. So just to kind of recap the first half here, we went to the backyard,
Low Country Backyard
restaurant. We went to Skull Creek Boathouse,
Salty Dog
Cafe, the Crazy Crab, and Michael Anthony's. I think of these. All these are recommends. There was no don't go here.
Right.
I think definitely Skull Creek was the number 1.
Absolutely.
Out of this list.
Yeah.
Salty Dog, and it's the only one that everybody should go to out of this list. Mm-hmm. If you're in Hilton Head, go to Skull Creek Boathouse.
Or the other location.
Yeah. Salty Dog would be the second one, where it's, you know, if you've never been, go.
Location.
And then the other 3, definitely, you know, consider them. It depends on where you're going to be. Crazy Crab's probably pretty close to those first 2 just because of location.
Harbor Town's a popular area.
Yeah, you're going to want to go to Harbor
likely.
Town. So it's a good place to stop and eat while you're there. That's what we have to say for now, and we'll come back with the second half, and we'll end it, instead of our normal saying, we'll end it with what Salty says: if you ain't the lead dog, the scenery never changes. So.